very good. Thank you. Thank you, the dream team. Okay. So then we will play with the two-part consequence and three-part consequence in order to get used with that. Okay, well, it follows that the red part is the pot. Who wants to say something? Yes, you know that it's a two-part consequence, so you can say yes, accept, or why, yeah? It follows that a red pot, the subject a red pot is a pot.
Accept.
Okay, the subject, the red pot is a pot because?
Because because it is a flat bulbous base able to hold water.
Yes, it follows that if it is flat base and round bellied, able to hold water, it's necessarily a pot.
Accept.
Okay, very good. It follows that the subject impermanent is impermanent.
Why?
It follows that the subject impermanent is not impermanent.
I don't remember.
Something to crunch.
Crunchy.
Okay, it follows that you know the definition of impermanent.
Accept.
Okay, which is?
That which is momentarily changing.
Okay, momentary, yeah, the subject momentary. It follows that the subject impermanent is momentary.
Why?
So it follows that the subject momentary is not the definition of impermanent.
Why?
It follows that the subject momentary is the definition of impermanent.
Accept.
So it follows that impermanent has to be momentary
Why?
because they share the 8 doors of pervasion.
The reason is not established.
Oh, it follows that definition and its definiendum don't share the 8 doors of pervasion.
I don't know.
Who wants to help Nicola?
Yes, definition and definiendum are how do you say equivalent?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So Chavila, yes, we could say that the subject, the two definition and definiendum are contradictory, but a definition and its definiendum are
Oh,
not contradictory, they are equivalent. Yeah, you're right, they are equivalent. They're equivalent because?
because they exist and mm, and whatever is the definiendum is the definition, and whatever is the definition is its necessarily its definiendum.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah, everybody agrees with Chavila? Yes, because a definition and its definiendum are equivalent, and the definition of equivalent, we saw that previously, they are different and they share the 8 doors of pervasion. Yeah, they are different, so they have to exist. They are diverse phenomena, and they share the 8 doors of pervasion. Yeah, for instance, fire and hot and burning. Yeah, if it's fire, it has to be hot and burning. If it's hot and burning, it has to be fire. If it's not fire, it cannot be hot and burning. If it's not hot and burning, it cannot be fire. If there is fire, there is hot and burning. If there is hot and burning, there is fire. If there is no fire, there is no hot and burning. And if there is no hot and burning, there is no fire. Yeah, the 8 doors of perversion. Yeah. Otherwise, the definition would not be appropriate. Yeah. If we say, like, for instance, we could play with that, yeah, sometimes about the pervasion, yeah, with the definition. It follows that, for instance, okay, the subject, boiling water, is hot and burning. The
Why?
subject, it, it follows that the subject boiling water is not hot and burning.
I guess it is.
So it follows that the subject boiling water is fire.
Why?
Because if it is hot and burning, it has to be fire. Because you previously accepted, Chavila, that the definition and its definition are equivalent.
Hmm.
Oh, so we have a problem. Yeah, it follows that the subject boiling water is not fire.
Yes.
Accept, very good.
Accept.
Yes. Okay, the subject boiling water is not fire because?
Well, now we can't say the definition of fire, but because it is not its definition.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. What could we say? Anyone? Help, Chavila?
Boiling
Because
water is wet.
wait.
The subject boiling water is wet.
Wait. Yes.
Okay, so it follows that the subject boiling water is not fire because it is wet.
And it's not burning. I think it's not burning.
But if I put my finger in boiling water, my finger is burning, no?
Can we say it's electrically burning?
Yeah, why not? Why not? But if you have, for instance, you offer some lights on your altar, like lamps, yeah, like butter lamps, yeah. Is it electrically burning? No, still it is fire. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It doesn't have flames.
yeah, it doesn't have flames. Oh, okay. Okay. So it follows that if you have a brand, for instance, yeah, yeah, comment on dit un tison in English? Brand, maybe, no? Like you have some fire, you take one piece of wood with it, which is red. Yeah,
Yes.
it's red burning. Yeah, it is hot and burning. Yeah, there is fire here.
Yeah.
Still, there is no flame.
Yeah, an ember. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, we still have that problem, yeah? Okay, so
Yeah.
it follows that the subject boiling water is not fire, is not hot and burning, but it is hot and it is burning, so it is fire.
No provision.
Oh, opposite the perversion.
Whatever is fire is necessarily hot and burning. Whatever is hot and burning is not necessarily fire.
So it follows that there is no, they don't share the 8 doors of perversion, yeah, the definition and the definition. No, the definition is mistaken. The definition is wrong.
It's like the subject impermanent is also not impermanent, or is it?
It is impermanent.
It is, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it is
think burning has two meanings, and you are using two different meanings. So burning in the definition of fire means that it's able to, like a wood, you know, it burns down.
Yeah.
And if you use it for the hot boiling water, your hand is burned. So we use the same word, at least in English, but actually there are two different meanings, and the definition only holds for something burning down, but not like for not for pain, like I've got burned, like my finger get burned.
Yeah. Okay, so different meanings for burning, yeah? Who would agree with Zinglola? Very clever, yeah? Very clever answer.
Yeah.
But still, it is the same word even in Tibetan, yeah? Yeah, the definition of fire, yeah, me. 자신 세파, 자신 직파, yeah. What is hot and burning? Yeah, hot and burning. So it follows that the great Yongzin Purbuchok made a boo-boo when he gave the definition of fire. No?
Water has to be wet. So, boiling water is hot and burning, but there's water element also in that subject. So, it has to be wet also.
Ah, it has to be wet also. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah, boiling water is hot and burning and wet. So it follows that it's a common base between fire and water. No? Who would accept? Who would disagree? So I have here the okay, definition of fire. Yes, you can see here, yeah, fire, me, hot and burning, yeah, sashing sepa. Oh, yeah, exactly. Sashing sepa. Okay, very good. So one possible answer would be the subject boiling water. On the one hand, it is hot. On the other hand, it is burning, but it is not hot and burning because only fire is hot and burning. That's a possible answer, yeah? Okay.
A
Okay.
fire
Sorry?
a fire can make another fire.
Yes.
Boiling water cannot make fire. I mean, it cannot
Yeah,
light another object.
exactly. That's true, yeah. That's why we cannot say that that hot boiling water is hot and burning. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. It's on the one hand hot, on the other hand burning, but it's not hot and burning. There is another instance, like there are many instances like this in the Dharma, that maybe you heard about the Bodhisattva, yeah? So does it resound in you if you speak about Bodhisattva? Maybe not. Okay, so maybe drop it. But for the people who know, we can speak about someone who is in an indefinite lineage holder. And this person can become an Arya first in the Pratimokshayana, then become a Bodhisattva. But that person is a Bodhisattva and is an Arya, but he is not an Arya Bodhisattva. He will become an Arya Bodhisattva only on the path of vision and meditation and so on. Yes. Okay. Okay, no problem, of the Mahayana. Okay. Yeah, please.
Isn't there bodhisattva in everyone?
In everyone who has awakened bodhicitta, yeah, spontaneous bodhicitta. Yeah, that person is a bodhisattva. Yeah, when that person has the spontaneous wish to become enlightened for the sake of all the beings. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But that person is not an Arya bodhisattva yet. Yeah, because he's still on the beginning of the path. Okay, okay, drop it for now. Okay, very good. So here we have also established days, yeah, existent phenomena and so on. Yeah, that's very, very useful. Okay, so we can play with that as well. It follows that you know the definition of phenomenon. Who wants to give any answer?
That which is known by the mind.
Okay, that which is known by an awareness. That which is known by an awareness, yeah. Yes, for instance, here there is a mistake here. In object, yeah, you can see object number 6. Yeah, le Rigparjawa in Tibetan. So that which is known by an awareness, not realized by an awareness, yeah. Realized by an awareness would be le toparjawa. Yeah, so there is a mistake here, but no problem. Okay, so that which is known by an awareness is the definition of object, yeah? But the definition of phenomenon would be?
They are not synonymous.
They are synonymous and they are equivalent, but one definition is only the definition of one definiendum, yeah?
Anything, anything which occurs is phenomena, no?
Sorry, please, could you repeat?
Anything which occurs or which can happen is a phenomena?
Yes, we could say something like this, yeah? Something that that exists or something, a phenomenon that occurs. Yeah, we could say like this. But here the definition is more specific, is that which holds its own entity. Yeah, number 4 here. Yeah, Rangin Wodzimba in Tibetan. Yeah, yeah, that which holds its own entity. Yeah? It has to possess its own characteristics, its own definition, we could say. Yeah, okay, very good. Then we can say also object of comprehension and object of comprehension of an omniscient consciousness. Yeah, it follows that if it exists, it's not necessarily known by my awareness. Would you accept? It follows that if it exists, it's not necessarily known by my awareness. Yes, I'm not omniscient. Yeah. I can guarantee that. Yeah. I can sign that. So, okay, but still, it can be known by another awareness, yeah, an omniscient awareness, an omniscient consciousness, yeah. So for that point, we have to use lots of reasonings, yeah, grounded on the first-hand experience of what is mind. Yeah, the mental consciousness. Yeah. Okay, so we will put it aside for now. And we have also an equivalent of existence, which is hidden phenomenon. Hidden phenomenon here, the last one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they don't give the Tibetan definition, but yeah. Okay. So we have it in the text. Okay. So an object realized in a hidden manner by thought consciousness apprehending it, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it follows that we can think about everything. We can think about any existent. Yeah. Do you agree with that? Okay. Or not? Okay, no problem. Okay, it was just a tiny point. So it follows that if it is a phenomenon, it's necessarily a hidden phenomenon. It follows that if it is a phenomenon, it follows that if it is a phenomenon, it's necessarily a hidden phenomenon. Do you accept? Do you disagree?
Why?
Okay. Yeah. It follows that if it is a phenomenon, it's not necessarily a hidden phenomenon.
Accept.
Okay, so it follows that hidden phenomenon and phenomenon are not equivalent.
Accept.
They are not equivalent because?
Not all phenomena are hidden.
Okay, posit an illustration.
The cup that you have is not hidden. It can be seen.
Okay. So it follows that the cup, which is there, yeah, it follows that the cup is not a hidden phenomenon.
Accept.
Okay. So it follows that it's not a phenomenon because hidden phenomenon and phenomenon are equivalent in our list in the Sautrantika following reasoning.
Ah.
So it follows that the subject, the cup, is a manifest phenomenon. Yeah, who would agree?
Accept, yeah.
I agree also.
Yes,
Yeah.
because here we have functioning thing. Yeah, everybody
Mhm.
can see the share screen. Yeah, and
Yeah.
an equivalent with functioning thing is manifest phenomenon. Yeah. Langsung
Mm.
masuk topal Java, yeah? Object explicitly realized by a direct valid cognition. Yeah. Okay. So it follows
Okay.
that this cup, as you said, Daniel, the
Yeah.
subject, this cup can be seen by
Mhm.
direct perception. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
it's
it's a
manifest phenomenon.
manifest phenomenon. Yeah. Okay. It's a
Okay. Yeah.
manifest phenomenon. Still, it exists. So,
Mhm.
because it exists, it has to be a hidden phenomenon as well. Because hidden phenomenon here is equivalent with phenomenon. Yeah.
Mhm. So it can be manifest or hidden.
Yes, it can. It has to be both.
It has to be both. Okay. Mhm.
Oh, wonderful. It follows
Okay.
that for the I consciousness, the cup is manifest.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is
Accept,
manifest
yeah.
because it is explicitly realized by direct valid cognition.
Mhm. Yeah.
It follows that if it is explicitly realized by direct valid cognition, it's necessarily a manifest phenomenon. Okay. And it follows that because it is realized in a hidden manner by the thought consciousness apprehending it, it's also a hidden phenomenon because we can think about the cup.
Mhm.
We can see the cup and we can think about the cup at the same time. Do you agree?
Accept.
So it follows that the cup is at the same time a hidden phenomenon and a manifest phenomenon.
Accept.
Yeah, wonderful. Very good.
Cool.
Okay, very
Wow.
good. Okay, it follows that you all know the definition of permanent. How can I stop the share screen?
Except, I have a question. This eight, they are all equivalent.
Sorry?
In the when you were sharing the screen, like 1 to 8,
Yes.
they're all equivalent
Yes, exactly.
according to
Existent phenomenon, object of
Object of
comprehension,
comprehension.
hidden phenomenon on one side. Then we have the main divisions. Yeah, it follows you have the main divisions of phenomena. Yeah,
Mhm.
which are
Permanent and impermanent.
yes, very good. And equivalent with impermanent would be
Functional thing.
yeah, functioning thing. Then what else?
Mhm.
Maybe you could posit the definition of functioning thing.
Oh. That which is able to perform a function.
Yes, also it is equivalent with functioning thing and with
Created thing. I think created, isn't it? Create,
yes, exactly. Created, cause, effect.
produced.
Yes, wonderful. Very good. And specifically characterized phenomenon, yeah. Swalakshana, yeah. That's very important. We have to dive into that, yeah, sooner or later. Okay, so it follows we can posit the difference between non-impermanent and permanent. Oh, crunchy. It follows that you can posit the difference between the subject, the two, non-impermanent and permanent.
Except.
Okay. Among contradictory equivalent 3P, 4P.
3P.
3P. Everybody agrees? Do we have other answers?
No. No, it's not.
Non-impermanent and permanent. Oh. Processing brains. Very useful. Okay, let's try 3P, yeah, for instance, yeah, Zigrula. So it follows you can posit an illustration of something which is both non-impermanent and permanent.
And compounded space.
Yeah, the subject and compounded space, it follows it is permanent.
Except
It is permanent because?
it's a phenomenon and it's not changing moment by moment.
Yes,
Non-momentary.
it follows that if it's a phenomenon which is not momentary, it's necessarily permanent.
Except
Okay, and it follows that the subject and compounded space is not impermanent.
except
It's not impermanent because?
it's not momentary.
Ah, and if it is not momentary, it's necessarily not impermanent.
Except
Yeah,
I'm
good.
thinking about the
Good.
non-existent. The non-existent is also not momentary, yeah.
Yeah, good. So it's not impermanent, yeah.
Mm.
Very good. Okay. So we have something which is both, yeah, non-impermanent and permanent, yeah, and compounded space. So if it's 3P, there is a perversion, yeah. How could you posit that, Zengrala?
If it's permanent, it's necessarily not impermanent. But if it's not impermanent, it's not necessarily permanent.
It follows that you can posit an illustration of something which is not impermanent and not permanent.
The rabbit's horn.
Rabbit's horn, the subject rabbit's horn, it follows it is not impermanent.
Except
It is not because.
it's non-existent.
Yeah, if it is non-existent, it cannot be impermanent.
Except
Very good. And the subject rabbit's horn is not permanent.
except
Okay, it's not permanent because.
it's not a phenomenon and it's
Yeah.
not existent.
Yeah, if it's not a phenomenon, it cannot be permanent. Yeah, very good. Then now opposite something which is neither, yeah, permanent and non-impermanent. Crunchy. Not permanent and not non-impermanent.
Or something permanent, not impermanent, right? So the pot.
Pot, yeah, wonderful. German intellect. Yeah. The subject, the pot, it follows that it is not permanent.
Except
Okay, it is not permanent because?
it's changing moment by moment.
If it's changing moment by moment, then it cannot be permanent.
Except
Okay, and the subject pot is not non-impermanent.
except
It is not non-impermanent because?
it's not changing moment by moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you could say because it is not impermanent.
Oh, wow.
You could say because it is the opposite of not being not because it is the opposite of not being not impermanent. Okay. So if it is okay, so if it is impermanent, it cannot be not impermanent.
Except
Very good. So we have 3P between what and what?
permanent and not impermanent.
Yes. Okay, between permanent and not impermanent. Yeah, we can see that permanent includes only existent phenomena. But non-impermanent includes also non-existent. Yeah, because we have a negation there. Yeah, very good. Okay, so among contradictory equivalent 3p and 4p, I guess you know the comparison between different from permanent and permanent. Between the two, different from permanent and permanent. Processing. Yeah, contradictory equivalent 3p, 4p. Different from permanent and permanent.
Contradictory.
Contradictory.
Contradicted.
Contradictory. Okay, we have two contradictory. Who wants to create another club? Or maybe wants to get in the club, contradictory. Okay, so let's try to play with that. We will see further step by step. So then the challenger could arrive with a consequence here. Well, it follows that the subject non-momentary phenomenon is not different from permanent. Okay. Okay. Okay, maybe let's try with impermanent first. Yeah, it would be easier. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So between impermanent and different from impermanent. Yeah, let's try to do that first. Then we go step by step after with permanent. Yeah, okay. So it follows that you know the comparison between the subject, the two impermanent and different from impermanent. Do you still find contradictory or something else? Sorry, yeah, contradictory equivalent 3p, 4p. Chavila, yes? I don't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was wondering if different from impermanent is similar to our last example of not impermanent.
Ah, that's a good question. That's the question. Yeah, Chavila. Yeah, because non-impermanent could include non-existent, yeah.
Yes.
But do you remember the definition of different?
Uh, diverse phenomena.
Yes, so it includes only phenomena, yeah? Diverse phenomena, yeah? So different
Oh.
from impermanent has to include only phenomena. Yeah,
Thank you.
very good. Certain moment, do you still have contradictory with between different from impermanent and impermanent?
I'll go with contradictory, though I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, and Daniel, are you still in the club? Contradictory?
Doubting a little bit now, but a little bit in the clouds as well.
Yeah. Okay, so then the consequence would be something similar. It follows that the subject pot is not impermanent because it is different from impermanent. So first, the consequence. It follows that the subject pot is not impermanent. Who would accept? Who would say why? It follows that the subject pot is not impermanent.
Why?
Oh, it follows that the subject pot is impermanent.
Except.
Okay. So it follows that the subject pot, I could give a consequence with a three-part consequence. It follows that subject pot is not impermanent because it is different from impermanent. If we accept that different from impermanent and impermanent are contradictory, so the subject pot, because it is different from impermanent, cannot be impermanent. Oh, so it follows that the subject pot is different from impermanent.
What?
Oh, it follows the subject pot is not different from impermanent.
Except.
Okay, so it follows that the subject pot is one with impermanent.
Yes.
Oh, it is one with impermanent. Okay, so it follows that the subject pot is a phenomenon which is not diverse from impermanent.
Yes.
So it is not diverse, at least conceptually.
Not diverse from phenomenon. But the thing is like impermanent, if you just have the subject impermanent itself is permanent, but if permanence is a property of the pot, then it's different. That's,
So the subject impermanent is not impermanent.
no, it's an NACP, I think.
And what is the definition of an NACP?
Something which is not matter nor form.
Yeah, a functioning thing which is neither matter nor form, nor consciousness. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, bemshe ganru mayin bengopo, azukshe ganru mayin bengopo. Yeah, azukshe mayin beg duje. A composite phenomenon which is not matter, which is not consciousness. So it is composite here, yeah? So it has to be impermanent. Yeah? So the subject impermanent is impermanent because it is momentary. Okay, still pot is impermanent, but it is different from impermanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because pot exists and is not one with impermanent. Only impermanent is one with impermanent. Yeah, do you agree with that?
Oh.
Yeah, the subject impermanent is one with impermanent because it is conceptually one. Conceptually, we cannot distinguish them. Yeah, impermanent, impermanent. We cannot distinguish them, at least conceptually. So if they exist and for the thought consciousness they are not diverse, then they are one. So even momentary is different from impermanent. Do you agree with that? The subject momentary is different from impermanent. We are not saying that it is contradictory with impermanent. We are just saying that it is different, yeah, at least conceptually. Because one is the definition and one is the definiendum, so they have to be different. Yeah, so momentary and impermanent are different because only momentary is one with momentary and only impermanent is one with impermanent. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Only permanent is one with permanent, only phenomenon is one with phenomenon, and so on and so on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the subject pot is impermanent, still it is different from impermanent.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So we have a common base between impermanent and different from impermanent, the subject pot. Everybody agrees? Very good. Very good. You are all fantastic. Fantastic. Wow. Okay. So, so it's not contradictory, yeah? Impermanent and different from impermanent. It's not contradictory. So we eliminate one answer. So we still have equivalent 3p, 4p. Between impermanent and different from impermanent. Yes, please.
I'm going to use something to refute. Like there's a pot of gold sitting at the end of an impermanent phenomenon that is the rainbow, the appearance of a rainbow.
Okay, could you please repeat, Nila? Could you please repeat?
Well, I was saying that the the rainbow is an impermanent phenomenon, and
Yes.
there is a pot of something, let's say gold, and it is supposed to be you can touch it or something, or you can find it or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, would it be an illustration of something which is different from impermanent? The rainbow.
Both are not. Both have no existence. Both are part of folklore and not logical.
Okay. Okay, I get this illustration. There is a, yes, okay, a pot which contains gold, which is, okay, at the feet of a rainbow, yeah? Okay, that kind of folklore, yeah? Okay, so that would be a non-existent, yeah? And the non-existent, can it be impermanent?
No,
No, it cannot because?
because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, it follows it cannot be impermanent. Okay, very good. And it cannot be different from impermanent as well. Yes, it cannot be different from impermanent because?
Because it's not a phenomenon.
Yeah, so if it's not a phenomenon, it cannot be different from impermanent. Yeah, because yes, very good. Okay, very good. Okay, so we have something which is impermanent and different from impermanent at a pot. We have something which is neither the gold pot at the foot of the rainbow. Okay, so now can we find something which is A and not B? Like for instance, impermanent, but not different from impermanent.
Yes, impermanent.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, tout un moment là also it was your answer, no? Yeah. Yes, good, very good, Chavila. Okay, so the subject impermanent, it is impermanent. It is
I agree.
impermanent. Yes, it is impermanent because?
Because it is momentary.
Yeah, if it follows that if it is momentary, it has to be impermanent.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good. And the subject, okay, what was it? Yeah, the subject impermanent is not different from impermanent.
I agree.
Okay, it is not because?
Because it is one with the subject impermanent.
Yes, it follows that if it is one with impermanent, it cannot be different from impermanent.
I agree.
Very good, very good. Then the challenger could choose to go in that direction and to ask the defender how many points between different from impermanent and one with impermanent, something like this, yeah. So you can have some branch debates sometimes, yeah. But it's good to stick to the main to the root reason, yeah. Okay, very good. So we have something which is impermanent but not different from impermanent. And now do we have something which is different from impermanent but not impermanent?
And compounded space.
Yeah, and the subject and compounded space, it follows that if it is different from impermanent.
Except
It is different from impermanent because?
it is diverse and it is permanent.
Yes. Yes, we can say because it is permanent. Yeah, if it is permanent, it's necessarily different from impermanent. Yeah, very good. Or you could say, as you said, because it's a phenomenon which is diverse from impermanent. Yeah, very good. Okay. And the subject and compounded space, it follows it is not impermanent.
Except
It is not because?
because it is permanent.
Yes, it is. If it is permanent, it's necessarily not impermanent.
Yes,
Okay.
except.
Very good. So it seems that we have 4P between impermanent and different from impermanent. We have something which is both. Yeah, pot. We have impermanent, which is impermanent but not different from impermanent. We have uncompounded space, which is different from impermanent but not impermanent. And we have something which is none of them. Yeah, rabbit's horn. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Wow, you're all very, 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 very fantastic. That's wonderful. Very clever. That's very. So if the challenger is now asking how many points between permanent and different from permanent, what would you say? Same kind of debate, no?
Yeah, also 4P.
Yes, it seems so, no? Yeah, very good. Yeah, different from permanent and permanent. What could be both? What could be the common base?
Uncompounded space.
Yes, and compounded space is permanent and different from permanent. Very good. And we have something which is permanent but not different from permanent. Yes,
Permanent itself.
permanent. Yeah, the subject permanent. Yeah. Because if we say the subject permanent itself, then it would be different from permanent.
Okay, the subject permanent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The subject permanent, yeah, very good. Permanent, it velocity is permanent, okay. And the subject permanent is not different from permanent, okay. And now different from permanent but not permanent, easy.
Hot.
Yes, pot. Pot is different from permanent and is not permanent, okay. And now something which is none of them, not permanent and not different from
Rabbit's
permanent.
horn.
Rabbit's horn, very good. Yeah, some kind of debate. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay. So, we could go towards maybe as well cause and effect and things like this. Okay. Okay. So we have the functioning thing, yeah, functioning thing and its equivalent. So we have cause, effect, produced, and so on. Yeah. Okay. So it follows that if it is a cause, it has to be an effect.
Except.
Okay, so it follows that if it is a seed, it has to be a sprout.
Not its own effect, it's an effect of something else.
So just accept or why.
Why?
Yeah. It follows that if it is a seed, it's not a sprout.
Except.
So if it's a cause, it's not an effect.
The seed is the effect of something else. The fruit of the tree.
Accept or why. So it follows that the seed, the subjective seed, is not a sprout.
Oh, yeah, except. Except.
We have to accept, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. The subject, the seed, is not a sprout because
Yeah. Because they're different.
Okay. So it follows that the subject and compounded space is not permanent because it is different from permanent.
Because they are contradictory, maybe.
Ah, they are contradictory. Yeah, the subject, the two, seed and sprout, they are contradictory.
Yeah,
They are contradictory because?
because they are cause and effect.
Ah,
But yeah, we had this before. I remember now. Okay, but because they have no common base and they are different.
yes, it follows that if they are different with no common base, they are necessarily contradictory.
Except,
Okay, so the subject, the two, seed and sprout are contradictory.
except.
So it follows that the subject, the two, cause and effect are contradictory because the subject, the two, seed and sprout are contradictory.
Yeah, except.
Oh, ho, ho. Everybody accepts that very, very tricky syllogism. It follows that the subject, the two, cause and effect are contradictory because the two, seed and sprout, are contradictory. Is the reason established? Yes. Is there any perversion? Yeah, we have to check, yeah, if the reason is established. Yeah, it follows that the subject, the two, seed and sprout are contradictory. Yeah, we obtained that conclusion, yeah, previously. Yeah, so the reason is established, yeah. The subject, the two, a seed and sprout are contradictory. But does it is there any pervasion? Yeah? Is it pervaded by the predicate? Yeah. Is it because a seed and a sprout are contradictory that cause and effect have to be contradictory? Does it prove that? Does it entail that? No, says Chavila. Yeah, so it's another trick. We could say, like Yunzin Purbuchog would say, in general, cause and effect are equivalent. Yeah, if it's a cause, it has to be an effect. And if it's an effect, it has to be a cause. But applied to a basis, yeah, Shila Jarna in Tibetan, Shila Jarna, if we apply that to a specific example, then they are contradictory. They can be contradictory. Yeah. Shila Jarna, if we apply that to a seed and a sprout, they are contradictory. But in general, cause and effect are equivalent. So we can say, in general, cause and effect are equivalent, but a cause and its effect are contradictory in many cases. In 99% cases. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. Okay, do we have still some time? Yes, like a few minutes. Okay. Let's try something else, yeah, if you wish. If you want, we can go also into the definitions and definiendums. So, but next time I will have slides, yeah, in order to approach that. But it follows that you know the definition of functioning thing. Yeah, the definition of functioning thing.
That which is able to perform its function.
Yes, the subject able to perform function, it follows it is the definition of functioning thing.
Except.
Okay, so okay, so it follows that it is not the definition of functioning thing. This one is a bit vicious, yeah, I must confess. The subject able to perform a function is not the definition of functioning thing. Because the definition of functioning thing is the triply qualified substantial existent of functioning thing. So we will learn that later. Yeah? Okay. Okay. So it follows that we know the difference between functioning thing and the definition of functioning thing. Contradictory, equivalent, 3P, 4P, between functioning thing and the definition of functioning thing. Okay. You can say anything, anywhere, we will check, we will double check step by step.
Definition is always equivalent to its definitum. So going by that way, it's equivalent, I guess.
Ah, that's a good kind of reasoning, yeah, c'est un moment-là. Yeah, so we tend towards equivalent because of that. Yeah, okay. So it follows that if it is a functioning thing, it's necessarily the definition of functioning thing. Maybe with the gesture, where it follows that if it is a functioning thing, it has to be the definition of functioning thing. So it follows that the subject pot is the definition of functioning thing. Ah, it is not. It is not because. What is the definition of functioning thing? Able to perform a function, yeah. Artha Kriya Shakti. Yeah. Very good. Dunjinuba. Okay, so it follows that the subject able to perform a function is the definition of functioning thing.
Except.
Yes. So it follows that the subject pot is not the definition of functioning thing.
Except.
Okay, still pot, it follows that it is a functioning thing.
Except.
So if it is a functioning thing, it's not necessarily the definition of functioning thing.
Except.
So they are not equivalent. Aha. Because if they are equivalent, yeah, we have the perfect coextension, a perfect pervasion. If it is a functioning thing, it has to be the definition of functioning thing. But if it is the definition of functioning thing, is it necessarily a functioning thing? We have to double check that, yeah? Yes, c'est un moment-là. If it is the definition of functioning thing, it's necessarily a functioning thing, yeah? Because?
No, it's not a functioning.
Sorry?
If it is a functioning thing,
Yeah.
it is necessarily a no. I'm confused now.
Yeah. Can we say that the subject able to perform a function is able to perform a function?
No,
No, able to perform a function is not able to perform a function.
because it's a concept. It's a
Ah,
definition. Yeah.
so if it is a definition, it has to be a concept.
Yes.
So the subject hot and burning is a concept.
Yes.
So when we put our hand on fire, a concept is burning the hand.
Yeah, but fire is an illustration of that concept.
Yes. So yeah, that's interesting, yeah, because when we hear about the definition in French or I guess in Western languages, the definition seems to be a sentence in a book, in a dictionary. Yeah, so it seems to be conceptual. But in the Buddhist philosophy, the definition is the very phenomenon itself, is the very set of characteristics itself, yeah, like hot and burning. Yeah, hot and burning is not a concept. It is hot and it is burning. Yeah, and fire is just that phenomenon, but seen through the glasses of the definiendum. But still, fire is hot and burning. Fire is not a mere concept. Yeah, like Arya Nagarjuna would say in the Lokatitastavam, yeah, in the stanza number 7, I guess, that if fire were a mere name, fire, we would burn our mouth when we say fire. Yeah, so fire is not the mere concept or the mere name, because it's not a sound and the concept is permanent. So fire is not permanent. So fire is hot and burning. Yeah? So when we say fire, it's just a way to express exactly the same phenomenon, but through the triply qualified imputed existent, yeah, the definiendum. Yeah, and the triply qualified substantial existent is the set hot and burning, but seen through the glasses of what is that very phenomenon itself. Yeah, the whole set of characteristics, hot and burning. So definition and definiendum are permanent, are the appearing objects to thought consciousness, definition and definiendum. Yeah, because many definitions are impermanent and many definitions are permanent. Many definiendums are impermanent and many definiendums are impermanent. It's like organic rice and rice and non-organic rice. That's the same, yeah? So definition and definiendum are permanent, but if it is a definition or if it is a definiendum, it's not necessarily permanent. For instance, able to perform a function is impermanent, yeah, because it's equivalent with functioning thing. Yeah. So if it is able to perform a function, it has to be a functioning thing. If it is a functioning thing, it has to be able to perform a function. So able to perform a function is an impermanent definition. And functioning thing is an impermanent definiendum. Yeah? Do you follow me? Wow, fantastic, really. That's very useful, yeah? Very useful. So, yes, if it is a functioning thing, it's not necessarily the definition of a functioning thing. Yeah, like for instance, pot. Pot is not the definition of functioning thing, but it is a functioning thing. But if it is the definition of functioning thing, it has to be a functioning thing. Because what is the definition of functioning thing? Able, yeah.
Able to perform function.
Yes, very good. Yeah, able to perform function, yeah. So if it is able to perform function, it has to be a functioning thing. Yeah. And if it is a functioning thing, it has to be able to perform function. But if it is a functioning thing, it's not necessarily the definition of functioning thing. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, same in the ray round, we can say if it is able to perform function, it's not necessarily the definiendum of able to perform function. But if it is the definiendum of able to perform function, it's necessarily able to perform function. Because what in the multiverse is the definiendum of able to perform function? What is the definiendum of able to perform function?
Functioning thing.
Yes, functioning thing, very good. Yeah, so if it is a functioning thing, it's necessarily able to perform function, but if it is a functioning thing, it's not necessarily the definiendum of able to perform function. You could say if it is able to perform function, it's not necessarily the definiendum of able to perform function. And if it is able to perform function, it's not necessarily the definition of functioning thing. Okay. Wow.
I didn't get it. Which one is the bigger one?
Between what and what?
able to perform a function and the definition of anything.
Yes, able to perform function would be bigger. Yeah, we can say if it is the definition of functioning thing, it's necessarily able to perform function. Because what is the definition of functioning thing in the multiverse?
No, everything that is able to perform a function.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, so if it is the definition of functioning thing, it's necessarily able to perform a function.
Okay.
But if it is able to perform function, it's not necessarily the definition of functioning thing. Yeah? It can be pot, flower, person, and so on. Wow, very good. And the way around, we can do it as well again. If it is a function, if it is the definition of, if it is the definiendum of able to perform function, it's necessarily a functioning thing. If it is the definiendum of able to perform function, it's necessarily a functioning thing. But if it is a functioning thing, it's not necessarily the definiendum of able to perform function.
So in this case, the definiendum is the bigger.
Yeah, functioning thing would be bigger. Yeah, if it is the definiendum of able to perform function, it's necessarily functioning thing. But if it is a functioning thing, it's not necessarily the definiendum of able to perform a function.
Functioning thing is the bigger.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, for instance, we can say manifest phenomenon, created, produced, and so on. They are functioning things, but they are not the definiendum of able to perform function. Because only functioning thing is the definiendum of able to perform function. Wow. So we can see that at first, it's not necessarily, it doesn't look very useful, but when we double check, that's the way our conceptual mind can operate. You know, you can refer to exactly the same phenomenon through different means, different ways. Yeah, you can say, yeah, you can say pot, which is one with pot, or you can say pot, which is not different from pot. Yeah, two different ways to get exactly at the same pot. That's wonderful how mind operates. Yeah, it's magical. So that's why we use a lot of reasonings to try to ascertain non-manifest phenomena like selflessness and so on, or manifest phenomena which are too subtle for us, and we try to ascertain we try to ascertain them through the conceptual mind, like emptiness and so on. We try to draw a design in our mind, and we try to refine that concept again and again to make it in accordance with reality more and more. Yeah. So yes, different ways to use reasonings in order to get at the same point, but with a refined mind. That's very, very useful. Yeah. Okay. But at first, yeah, it seems to be very, very strange debate. Okay, no problem. Yeah, it can happen. Okay, very good. So thank you so much. It was very, very funny, at least for me. I don't know for you. But if you follow the replay, because sometimes I get used to speak in English, so sorry for you because sometimes I speak too quickly. But we try to dive again and again into that, because if we know well the definiendums and definitions, we can know the isolates. And the isolates are very useful also to understand how the conceptual mind is operating as well. Yeah, okay. So just to tell you that we will try again and again. Yeah, it will become a little bit easier, as the Bodhisattva Shantideva said. Yeah, Nakinchi dastita dvastu yadabhyasasya dushkaram. There is nothing that doesn't become easier with practice, with training. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye, my
Thank you very
friends.
much. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.